Hello, ODs and members of the Bishops community. It's a great pleasure and an honor to be joined today by Vice Chairman of the OD Union, David Leslie. David, thank you for joining us here today. We hope you're going to find out a bit more about you and how you are involved in the OD Union. So cast your mind back to your time at Bishops, and how was that?
Good. I just want to correct you on one thing. It was Vice Chairman of the OD Committee rather than the OD Union. Anyway, so I matriculated in 1971. I was in White House, a boarder. I came from Wet Pups, a school I loved. And I had a great time here at Bishops. You know, I participated, very, very sport orientated. That was my big thing. Played cricket and rugby, second team rugby, first team cricket in my last year. Got half colours for both. And I was a house prefect. And it was a good life here. I mean, it was quite tough at the beginning in the old days. You know, you came here and there was still corporal punishment, and the head of house was allowed to cane you, for instance. So it was an interesting kind of environment. So it wasn't for sissies, but I think it did a lot of good for us, and a great school. I've got good memories.
And a proud White House man.
A very proud White House man. Although funny enough, my son came here. He matriculated in 1999. I think he was actually in Founders because my wife's school. My wife's family had been in Founders. We have a long history here through the Van der Bijl family, and in fact through the other side of my family as well. So a long history at Bishops.
Right. And after Bishops, UCT?
I went to UCT. I did a BCom. It took me 4 years. We had a great time. In the army in between, I was on the border and did quite a few things with South African infantry. Toughened us up. And then I did a BCom, and then I carried on and did a CA eventually. And qualified in 1979. I was with Price Waterhouse, did my articles at Price Waterhouse as it was in those days.
And then quite a long business career in corporate.
A varied business career, it has to be said. I didn't take the traditional route. I got out of formal accounting quite quickly and was in a variety of industries, the early computer industry on the sales side. Then I went back into financial accounting with a clothing company for a period of time, a British subsidiary of Courtaulds. And then I joined a headhunting company, as it was then, an executive search. I became a shareholder, and I loved that. I was there for about 10 years or so. And then I went into the financial services industry, actually, through a client I had at the time. And I was with the board of executives for a few years, which, in fact, the financial director at that stage was my cousin, James McGregor, who was a chairman of council here 20 years ago or so. And then we broke away from BOE and started our own asset management company, which is the thing that I did for the next 20 years or so. Private client asset management, high net worth, global equities, that's what we did.
So very varied.
Very varied. I was a kind of jack of all trades and master of none.
David, tell me, why did you feel the need now to get involved in the OD Union?
Well, Nick, in a way, you know the story a bit because you and I have been involved. And the way we got involved was how long ago now? What are we looking at?
Years?
2 years. I mean, it's almost 2 years, isn't it? Extraordinary. Where we got involved in the election process for council members of our core. That's what we were really getting involved with, starting to try and move into an environment that was more democratic and more representative of the stakeholders. And we worked on that for quite a long time and made big progress. And then towards the end of 2024, was it? The OD committee opportunities came up because the OD committee at that time, there was movement and positions going to be available. And, a lot of it, we got together and we decided this was an organization that itself needed quite a lot of work and restructuring in a way, and maybe bringing up to a more modern sort of era. And so it was originally the council, and then it moved into the OD committee. And I'd like to say, I did think about this before I came here. Quite a big part of it for me was a Christian spiritual side, because you and I have talked about that as well, that we felt that it's been under attack in this school
Absolutely.
For quite a long time, that those values have been under threat and haven't been nurtured and valued the way they should have been. And so that was actually a big motivation for you as well. And I think we're making progress on that front as well.
Absolutely, and you've been a great part of the team, obviously, as the vice chairman of the committee. You've been involved to a large extent with our relationship with council, the Rhodes Scholarship issues, various issues to do with the organization itself, the staffing, the budgets. I mean, we've come a long way in not a long time.
Yeah, I think we've done a remarkable job in 9 months. I think it's quite phenomenal, actually. I mean, the main reason is that I think we had a good plan. We thought about it carefully before we became the committee. We had a proper strategic plan, and we put together a really good team. I think probably for the first time for a long time, this place had a really strong OD committee as a team, rather than being led by a kind of dominating chair or anything like that. So the team has worked together and therefore, achieved a lot. And I think the big thing is we've put in a proper management team here now. The OD Union hasn't had a dedicated, used to have an OD secretary, and that fell away for quite a number of years, and I think the organization really suffered because of that. And, we've now got Andy Wood in place and since June, and he's done a fantastic job. I'm making such a difference. And we've just appointed Gisela as his full-time PA, and I think we've got the staffing structure we need and Dr. Paul Murray, of course, he's just a massive asset. So yeah, and I get involved, across the board really in a way. And we've got a little sort of informal exco, Andy, me and Simon Koch, the chairman, and we talk about a lot of stuff the whole time, right across the spectrum of what's going on the committee, because we've got our subcommittees. I mean, you comms and all the things that we do in the branches, and you guys get on with those, but then issues are coming up the whole time, which we chat about, and you guys can come and talk to us and hopefully get a bit of wisdom.
Yeah, sure. Lots of wisdom from you guys. And would you say, I think such a positive aspect actually working on the committee with you is that it's not led by one dominant figure. It really is democratic. We vote on issues. There's differences of opinion. I mean, don't you think that that's really positive? Absolutely. I mean, there's robust debate. We respect each other, and we go with the majority opinion at the end of it all. And that's the way committees should work. And there's got to be transparency as well. So we are very transparent with our membership base. We publish our minutes, we tell them what we're doing, we're on social media, and I think that's healthy, and I think it's the way things should always run. And if I may say so, if we're talking about council, I believe it's the way council should run. I don't believe the council has been nearly transparent enough over the years. People don't know what they're doing, who's on it, and I really hope that in the future that is going to change. Absolutely, and I agree with you, David, and I think that's why this period now, coinciding with the picking of a new chairman of council, is such a critical juncture for bishops and potentially the next decade. Would you agree? I mean, I would, Nick. I mean, leadership is always crucial in every organization. The person who is at the top of an organization really sets the tone for what is going on. I think we made, just to go back a bit on the council, one of the big things we did was to, it took us a lot of work and a lot of fight and a lot of opposition to get a proper democratic election process within the OD Union to nominate OD candidates for council. And, last year, we had that at the end of 2024 again. And, we suddenly found 15 ODs who put themselves forward for council. It was the most remarkable thing, because council had been struggling for years to get anybody interested in going there. It had been a sort of network, an old boys network that hadn't worked. And suddenly we had these competent people. And, there was an initial election process. Some of the ODs were put on. And then later on this year, we got more of those elected ODs on. And that was very, very good. And to go back to the chairman position now, it's utterly crucial for bishops. The school, on the face of it, is doing well, but I believe there are quite a lot of structural issues and ethical other issues, governance issues, whatever they may be. And it's absolutely crucial that the council finds the best and the right chairman for the school. I believe they should and must be an OD. We have already gone out to the market, and there's some potentially good candidates. It is a crucial time for bishops. And I must say, can I take the opportunity to urge the Nominations Committee of Council to look at this seriously and in a completely open fashion, transparent, unbiased, look for the best person. That is what's required. And I think, the ODU will assist in any way it can. And we just pray and hope that the best candidate will emerge. And I think speaking of these sorts of positions, I mean, I just want to touch on the Rhodes Scholarship.
Can I just go back, Nick, for a moment, just in terms of our relationship with Council? I mean, the OD Committee and the OD Union want a really good relationship with Council.
Absolutely.
There's no question. There have been issues, and we have stood our ground on things we believe are important. But I think, as long as there's a mutual respect
and trust,
all doing the best thing for bishops, that's what we want.
Sure.
Best for bishops. Then we can talk to each other and work with each other. And, we're working towards that, I think. And we're getting a better dialogue going, I hope.
Yeah, and I think we're very much committed to putting the right people in the right positions that have a mandate, for example, to bring in that Rhodes Scholarship issue. I mean, the working group that we've brought in, I mean, it's phenomenal, competent people, right?
Amazing. I mean, ODs have come forward and giving of their time, very, very experienced global kind of executives and King's councils who put in massive work for absolutely no remuneration. And so we have a very competent working group that's going to take the matter forward. I mean, there's obviously been a difference of opinion between the council, who have made a decision, and they're entitled to do that, and the OD Union, who feel differently. And many of the stakeholder group feels very differently. And so that matter is being taken forward, and, let's see how it unfolds.
Yes.
But I think it's right that we should be pursuing it one way and another.
Absolutely. Well, David, thank you for your time and for opening up to doing this interview. I think this shows how committed we are to transparency. It's so important, I was saying to you before the interview, that people are able to see who we are. We're not just names or that you see at the bottom of a letterhead. We're real people, and thank you so much for your time.
Absolute pleasure. I just say to the guys, we've got an OD committee here that's completely committed to having the OD Union as a superb, one of the best alumni institutions in the world, and we want to serve our ODs the very best way we can.
Great. Well, thank you, David. All the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you.